Hello, I'm Charlie Crisp. I was born in 1871, right after the American Civil War. I'd like to show you the genealogy of some of my oldest Crisp ancestors. Along the way, I'll tell you about the amazing life of my great-grandfather who fought in the American Revolutionary War. This is a picture of my father, John F. Crisp, about 1857, right before the American Civil War. His story is covered in another video, so I will just cover a few facts. He was born in Tennessee on November 2, 1821 in Rutherford County, Tennessee. His father, Archibald Crisp, moved his family to Smithland, Livingston County, Kentucky in 1828. The family is in the 1830 federal census as living there. This is another picture of my father around 1885. His father, Archibald, died when John F. was just 16 years old in 1837. John F. Crisp ultimately moved to Parrish, then Akin in Franklin County, southern Illinois. He is buried in East Fork Cemetery in West Frankfort. His father, Archibald, was born around 1800 in Chesterfield, Virginia. The official census before the War of 1812 was burned by the British. Only the tax record of 1783 is available for Chesterfield County, Virginia. It is used for the official 1790 U.S. Census. The 1830 census has him between 20 to 30 years of age in Smithland Township, Livingston County, Kentucky. Archibald's father, John H. Crisp, is another story. There is a lot of documentation regarding his life. He was born on December 23, 1755 in Prince George, Virginia. In 1778, John H. is listed as the executor and trustee of his father's, John Sr., last will and testament. He fought for America in the Revolutionary War. He served 11 months and 18 days. He is listed on the bottom of this document. After the war, he married an farmer on May 5, 1780, as recorded in the Chesterfield County, Virginia marriages, page 37. John H. Crisp and his family are in the 1783 tax census, which was used as the official first census of the United States in 1790. After Anne's death before November 1817, John H. moved to Rutherford County, Tennessee. That's considered part of the Nashville metropolitan area today. John H. Crisp moved to Tennessee in December 1817 with his family is documented in the History of Rover and the 10th District of Bedford County, page 124, regarding the Blanton family. Archibald is listed as John Crisp, Jr. His full name may have been John Archibald Crisp. He stayed with his son, William, and drew a pension in 1832 Rutherford County for service in the Revolutionary War. In October 1832, John H. Crisp, father to William, moves from Rutherford County, Tennessee, where he has lived since November 1817, to live with him in Gibson County, Tennessee. John H. is 76 years old. In Gibson County 1 year later, on October 20, 1833, the First Presbyterian Church of Trenton, Tennessee is founded. John H. Crisp is elected one of 4 elders of the church. This is from pages 67, 68, and 542 from the book Gibson County Past and Present by Frederick M. Culp. John H. was 77 years old. This is the church he founded. Sometime between 1840 and 1850, when he would have been 85 to 95 years old, John H. Crisp passed. He is recorded on the 1840 Gibson County, Tennessee census, but not in 1850. John H. was the first Crisp born in America. What an amazing life and legacy. From John Crisp, the rest of the story of my ancestors centers on Suffolk County, England. The largest town in the county is Ipswich, which is about 82 miles from London. Suffolk County is an agricultural stronghold in the southeast of England, and its long farming heritage has created a county blanketed with open fields, crisscrossed with hedge rows, and dotted with trees and copses. Two of Britain's most sought-after coastal retreats are housed on its shoreline, Albury and Southwold. There are very few major roads and motorways inland, and rail access is limited, preventing the area from becoming a major commuting area for London to the southwest, therefore keeping its rural feel. All of the documentation regarding marriage and christening, which is a Christian baptism, came from the church records in England. This is how we know who our ancestors were. Let's start with the third generation and work back to the oldest information and ancestors I have documented, which is listed on this map as the number 1. John Crisp, the immigrant and father to John H. Crisp, was born about 1720 near Easton, Suffolk County, England. John is the Crisp family member that immigrated to America about 1750. On October 2, 1778, John lists on his last will and testament in Chesterfield County, Virginia, his siblings living in Easton. Listed were Mary, Moses, and Samuel. John Crisp the immigrant as well as his sister Mary, were baptized at St. Mary's Church in Dollinghoe in the bottom left corner. John Crisp the immigrant's father and mother, listed as the second generation, are buried there. They died while the children were still in their youth. This may explain how John Crisp, the immigrant, listed his occupation on his marriage bond as Baker of Easton. His uncle, Moses Crisp, shown in Easton and with the number 2 for the second generation, is listed as the Baker of Easton prior to his nephew. Moses Crisp might have taken responsibility for the family after his brother's passing. Moses Crisp, the uncle and second generation, is buried at the Church of All Saints in Easton. All of his descendants are buried there, also. The will is still in existence and is in the Chesterfield County, Virginia will records. Pretty amazing to have these documents, isn't it? The village of Easton, which is mentioned in John's last will and where all of his siblings lived in 1778, has about 300 residents. It is documented that on December 26, 1747 a marriage license was issued to John Crisp of Easton and Elizabeth of Wickham Market. These two villages are about a mile from each other. It also lists John's occupation as a baker after his name. The December 26, 1747 marriage ceremony is also documented in the church records as being performed at St. Michael's Church, in Beccles, Suffolk County, England. This is St. Michael's Church, in Beccles, Suffolk County, England, where on December 26, 1747, he married Elizabeth Jane Fox before they left for America about 1750. A fascinating story between the pastor at married John and Elizabeth Crisp in this church you see here. Edmund Nelson was the new pastor in the church where John Crisp and Elizabeth Jane Fox were married. Nelson met Catherine Suckling, and married her on May 11, 1749 at Beccles, Suffolk County, England. This is the same church in the same year as John and Elizabeth Crisp got married in on December 26, 1749. Later, the Nelson's son was the famous Lord Vice Admiral Horatio Nelson. Unknown to Edmund Nelson, who was the pastor that probably performed the marriage ceremony for John and Elizabeth Crisp, would be the fact that their sons would be on opposite sides in the American Revolutionary War years later. The oldest ancestors I have is listed as Generation 1 at the right side middle of this Easton area map. In the town of Marlsford is buried another John Crisp with his wife, Elizabeth, at St. Andrew Church. Their headstone is still readable after almost 400 years. So here you have it. We've traveled all the way to Easton, Suffolk County, England. Their story is my story, too. Their choices led to my life here in America. And for this, I am grateful to them. I appreciate you taking the time to hear our story.